otherwise that could have been quite exciting while nothing actually happened. Hello,
Yes,
hello there,
exactly.
chums. It is Roadmap Tuesday. You can thank Adam for us starting on time. There, I was trolling the forum, sort of trawling, I should say, rather than trolling, trawling the forum to pick out some extra business to talk about this evening. So it's going to be business as usual today. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be splendid as ever. Hold on to your questions. Hold on to them. We'll get to that. We want to talk about what we've already announced in the roadmap and make sure that that's all cleared up, and then we'll get on to your questions after we've gone through that. So it'll be about 15 minutes, I reckon. About 15 minutes.
Hopefully, if I can populate.
Yeah, no, I reckon you're going to be good enough. Yeah, okay. Right. So let's start with Long Island Railroad. Now, I've seen one or two people be a little bit confused about what's going on with Long Island Railroad because in the removed section, we've removed the Long Island Railroad's focus, but then in upcoming, we've got the Long Island Railroad fixes galore. What is going on there?
So basically, we. Oh, hang on a second. Have I got no? Too many echoes of Adam there. Basically, we have focused our time during February on Long Island Railroad,
Yeah.
and now we are moving on. We've done a really sizable amount of work, which I'm really pleased with, both improvements and additions and feature upgrades. Which we'll get to in a second. But there are a lot of routes that everyone's interested in, so we need to move on. We need to get to the next set of routes, which, as you know, we've said before, is main specified and rapid transit. So what we're moving to now is the testing phase, and we have changed that up following some reviews and looking back at how things have gone on the past couple of releases from the Preserve group. We don't think it is appropriate to try and keep up with the main release schedule because that puts too much pressure on the testing of our changes. So what we're looking at now is getting Long Island Railroad built and out to our beta forum, our internal, external kind of extended testing group. This is a lot more of the enthusiast caliber. And we have an awful lot of US railroad fans in that group as well. And they will give us the feedback and see how we're getting on. Have we made the right changes? Have we improved things the way they need to be improved? And then once we've done a cycle of that, we will look to go into the official DTG QA process. And then from there, hopefully we'll get signed off and we'll release. And we may well release away from some of the update patches. So previously, as you've seen, we will be some of the upgrades will be on the Tuesday before a main DLC release. We actually think that maybe some of this stuff is being hidden under there. So we may well look at, is there a week where there's nothing coming out, and we'll put a release out for Long Island. So we do have a lot on Long Island. Remember also only highlights will go on to the roadmap. The patch notes will be where the actual detail is. So I have already read a few questions on the forum about, it doesn't look like you fixed very much and you're already moving on. Well, that's because we're not putting the detail on the roadmap. In my fix list, we have 74 items. That might not be the number of changes that were made, but certainly there were 74 items that we have confirmed as improved. There were then half a dozen or so more that were as by design, or the issue actually no longer occurs, which is really cool. We do like finding those ones because that means we have already improved aspects of that route. So at the moment, yeah, we're moving into the testing phase. There is a minor glitch in that it doesn't build at the moment for an issue that is nothing to do with us.
That sounds like a major glitch. That doesn't sound like a minor glitch.
Well, it's only minor in the sense that it's the build process. We haven't built this route for a number of months now, and I think there's been some upgrades to the build process. So this may well occur on a few other routes, or it could well have occurred on a few other routes that we're working on. So I think Long Island is just the first one from the Preserve crew. So we're just working through the build process, and then it'd be out to the beta testers. So at the moment, no idea on release date. We'd much rather have it in a really good shape before we come out with it.
To paraphrase, and that's a a good length answer there. Paraphrasing, you've finished your work. It's going through QA. Then it needs some testing, and then it will be scheduled.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, no, good stuff. But you've now moved on with your focus. No, actually, before we finish with Long Island, this isn't the last time you'll be doing any updates, right?
No, exactly. This is only what we've done inside the month of February, because, as I say, we do need to get onto other routes. We would love to sit and do as much as we can on Long Island, but actually we need to give other routes some love as well. So, yeah, this is what we've managed to do in February. And there is some more stuff that we didn't manage to get to. And actually reading the forum, there are a few things that have never actually been reported to us before. So it's interesting that giving it some airing time has meant that some issues have been reported that actually maybe weren't common previously. So
right.
Actually we can add those to the list.
And it makes sense, right? So, we release these fixes and people can then go and judge them. And we'll get a supplemental round of feedback, so that when it comes round in the circuit again, you'll have a whole bunch of stuff that you can do to improve things. And that's before you even start to think about, well, actually, we've got all of these new core bits and pieces and exciting stuff that have been added into the game. If you're thinking passenger information screens or automated crossing gates and that kind of behaviour, that you can then go back and add in. So it makes sense that you run it in laps. Because
I mean, we don't even think about what will be added to Train Sim World between now and the next time we look at Long Island. It could be in a couple of months' time. It could be in a year's time. Who knows? It depends on what we get through and what does need attention. But certainly, I mean, in this round, we have had the complete audio rebalance. So the team has looked at both the route and the train audio systems. So we're really, really keen to get feedback from the beta forum and our beta testers on that. We have the improved track rendering. So we took on board, and this was something I said in one of our early streams, what would I most want? So I've made sure that we're getting through that. So we've looked at all the LODs and all the rendering techniques that we've used on the track and the third rail. It was actually the third rail that proved the most difficult, because that is a large white cover on the side of the Long Island track. So it's very easy to spot where it comes in the distance. So we've worked hard on that. Hopefully everyone will like our improvements. We have added the platform destination displays, or the departure boards, sorry. So again, something we did to East Coastway, we've now done to Long Island. And we've already made great progress on that front with Main Special Barn and Rapid Transit. We have added the brand new sky system that Train Sim World 2 introduced as well. So that'll be improved weather and cloud system, lighting and stuff like that. But I think, as mentioned previously, we didn't get onto such as the level crossings, or there is a lot of talk about the signalling system and the block system and how it reports back to the train cab. The in-cab signaling system. We haven't got onto those issues yet. So some of those things are still on the radar. Don't have any idea yet when we'll get back to them.
So let's take the signalling and the passenger information system as kind of two separate things. Mm-hmm. Now, presumably, after you've implemented passenger information on one route, you can then do the same work on another route, and it takes far less hassle because you kind of know what you're working with. Is that fair?
It's to a large extent, yes. But it's more a case of having comparable artwork and systems from another route of that region. So doing East Coastway was far faster than doing Long Island, even though East Coastway was first, because the system is already very, very similar in real life to the one that was used on Southeastern High Speed and the Kent route, whereas we didn't have the artwork or a US system that was similar to that on Long Island. So we've had to do some work there to make something that sits within the environment. We can't just stick like British Rail departure boards on Long Island Railroad. So once we've got that similar set, then yeah, it is proving to be a pretty easy thing for us to introduce, which is why only on the first week really of March last week we were doing a lot of time in looking at what the scope of this month will be. Literally a week we've already done rapid transit and main specibans platform to boards, because a lot of our German routes are all set in the same time period, the same era, and therefore coming from Munich Augsburg, the system was pretty much up and running, ready to go. So we just needed to plug it in and get it installed. So,
okay, good. But then if you take that over to signaling systems now, as much as the different signaling systems in different countries have a whole bunch of different kind of rules and regs associated with them, let's say you were to comprehensively tackle a signaling system on a route, would that give you better insight into the overall way that our signalling and the way they communicate with trains is interacts, or is it a case of no, you have to learn it afresh on a route by route basis?
there's an awful lot that goes into the signaling system. It is also a very, very deeply seated system in a route. A lot of things depend on that system. A lot of things operate from that system. So unlike installing passenger information systems on a platform, which, while they look great, is actually a largely visual system, and it provides for the player but doesn't really touch anything, the signaling system really does link into the timetables, the gameplay, how everything plays, you know, the rate, how many trains can fit in areas. So it is a much, much bigger task. And especially in terms of testing when we come out the other side, but also a large amount of the building of each route is about customizing the signaling system for that particular route. You know, something like where we've come out of Hagen for a number of routes, that is easy to just extend the signaling system, and therefore all those routes that share that location share that signaling system.
Right.
Long Island Railroad doesn't share its signaling system with anything else. Now, we have done more advanced in-cab signaling with TVM of some recent routes, but this compares to Long Island being 2 years ago, more maybe potentially. So do we try and work with the signaling system that's there? Do we look at overhauling it? It starts to get very expensive in time and engineering and testing. So we have to be very careful. Something like changing the signaling system is a little bit open heart surgery. We don't want to break what's there.
Yeah. We
don't want to affect scenario planner stuff that people may have created. So it's a very careful thing that we have to balance very carefully.
Xenos just asked, actually, it's a good one. Is the signalling the reason that Long Island has fewer services than it should?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah. We have tested more intense timetables, and they simulate, but when you go to play them and you have the current signaling system and the rate which it is updating that cab signaling, trains just start to crash into each other. You don't get enough warning about dangers ahead when you're driving to the signaling system at the moment. So yeah, it is a problem. Right. It is something we're looking into to see if we can do anything about it.
So effectively, the Long Island Road changes that we've got, and we've kind of gone on a bit longer than we intended to on this. And also, that toxic waste that you're drinking is dyeing your tongue purple. So the Long Island fixes that we've got coming up, they are going to improve the overall quality of the play experience that people have on that route. But there is still some way to go.
Don't want to put it out. That would be a bit of a problem if they didn't. So yeah.
Well, that's the general idea. Yeah, you know, come and see me if you ever need to figure out exactly why we're doing this stuff in the first place. Let's move on and talk MSB, so main spec Autobahn and rapid transit. What's at the top of your list of things to address?
Audio. Audio is front and center. So the guy, our audio technician guy, is currently looking at the Talent 2.
Give him a name. Let's talk about his
Martin.
Martin, right.
Of the
let's put his name in lights a little bit, because he's doing some very important work.
Yes, on both the rapid transit and main specified audio, but he also is going to be worrying about the technical systems on the train as well. So we've talked about Can LZB be expanded in its usage? Now, again, that's tipping into the signaling system, so we'll have to see what happens there. But it is on this is highly sought after list, so we need to spend some time investigating that. But yeah, audio is top of the list, and yeah, from the experience of Long Island. Sorry, there's a massive helicopter going over. The
I can
experience
hear
of
it.
Long Island Railroad and the M7, we've actually already got some inroads about what kinds of things we need to improve on the mains plus one stuff. And then the erroneous NPCs on the track in rapid transit, that is top of the list. Funnily enough, it's not the level crossings that will fix that. It is giving each platform its own set of passengers. At the moment, there is one kind of place that all the passengers spawn,
Right.
and then they walk to their individual platforms. What we'll do is we'll give each platform its own set, and then to combine with that and to just improve the immersion, we will then put in the level crossings as well. So I've got another Adam. This is another Adam. This is my art Adam. He's looking into, right, what is the tech involved? Because that is going to be not just really taking the artwork that's there for the level crossings, but also connecting them into the track so they detect the presence of the train.
Yeah. We've got some rapid transit questions coming in. You see now. Are you going to? So Matt Jamker is asking: are you going to add medals working correctly on rapid transit?
Yes, in fact, I think rapid transit is the last route that doesn't have a full lineup of scoring a medal system. It is disappointing that it's gone this far. So yes, that is on the gameplay front. That's my department. That is on my list. The scoring system and journey mode as well. I have a note next to journey mode.
Everyone's going to blame you when it doesn't work. Are we going to get level crossings in rapid transit?
That is for Adam to investigate and see what is the best solution to that. We won't change it if we can't make it better. So I know that we have come up with some better techniques since then, but I'm actually starting to leave like the environment art and everything to Adam to decide. One thing that we mentioned or we talked about was how do we decide what it is we're going to fix? There's all these different areas that people feedback on, and pretty much we just grab the list. Hence why I was saying we spent last week doing this. We take the list of feedback, and it's normally quite a large list, and we just go through everything and we say, right, can we fix this? Can we do something about this? Are we going to be able to get to that? To some extent, irrespective of how long each fix might take, it's here's all the things that we want to try and tackle. Here's the target list, is what I call it.
Right.
And then working out from how impacting in the player experience is this down to it's a floating tree a mile from the track. Are we ever going to care about that? So, you know, we start at the most important, the most obvious, the things that are jarring, the things that are affecting people's experience, things that are breaking that immersion.
Yeah.
And then we continue going to some extent until we run out of time. And then I have to call time and say, right, we've actually done a really good amount here. Let's stop. Let's take stock. Let's decide. Let's make sure what we have done is good and can go out.
And then it can wait for the next lap, and you'll do it again. Because presumably you could spend the next 6 months working on just rapid transit, and still not be finished.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we could make all kinds of improvements to it, but we have to weigh up. There are a lot of routes, and they all need a little bit of TLC to make sure they're all to the Train Sim World 2 standard.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going to improve the catenary materials on rapid transit?
There has been discussion about it.
Yeah.
So again, I need to get Adam to review what we want to do there. And we have had a few suggestions from our beta team about improvements. So yeah, I'm going to leave that with Adam to decide, is this something we can take on? What's the impact? What's the risk?
Okay.
And what's the improvement?
And livery designer compatibility.
So we have already made great strides, I think, on the preserve crew, preserve collection, preservation crew, preserve. Too many words. But my artist has been promoted. The main dev team have been eyeing up. This was Josh. So Josh has done an absolute sterling job, but he has been promoted into the main train art team. So the preservation crew now does not have somebody to be doing the livery designer on the preserved collection. I can't even say it.
It's because you're off your face on energy vial.
But this doesn't mean we will stop doing whatever. We'll stop doing the livery designer stuff. We will keep doing it. I am in the process of hiring. We will change it, but we'll probably not look for a dedicated vehicle artist this time. We are on the lookout for a more general hard surface modeling artist that will probably share the work with Adam, actually, and then we'll do a bit of vehicle, we'll do a bit of environment. But that will still carry on. There's just going to be a minor pause. The good news is, though, that we have done an awful lot of stock for the livery design already.
Right.
We're just waiting for slots for those to come out.
Okay, good. So will you be adding PIS on the Talent 2 that runs on Rapid Transit?
We will not be adding it to the trains at the moment. We are only focusing on the platform-based stuff. This is mostly because Martin, who's worrying about the audio and other technical systems on the train rather than something like the departure or the display boards, he just isn't trained up in that area yet. So at the moment, I'm just letting him get a handle on what we are focused on and what we do know how to deal with. And then we'll start to look at what else can we do. So yeah, the trains are not getting any dynamic systems just at this time.
So I mean, on a kind of related question, when it comes to layers that have been added on other routes, when you then visit something like MSB or Rapid Transit, and there is an obvious layer matchup that could be done, so maybe taking some trains from other routes that have been introduced since that came out and maybe adding those in as extra layers. Is that something that you can do, or is that more associated with the team who are building the new route?
I think we should try. It is not something we're looking at the moment because timetables are very difficult to author. They're very, I wouldn't say fragile, but they're very closely built. It's very intricate, and therefore, if you try and introduce more stuff into it, you might end up having a knock-on ripple effect that could damage everything beyond that point that you've started editing in the timetable. So I think it would be worthwhile having that as an aspiration, but we're not currently looking at that. It's more a case of, is there anything wrong with the current timetable that we need to fix?
Right. See you later says, why don't you just nick the Talent 2 from Colnarchen and add that?
It is a different Talent 2. It's not exactly the same. And it's not just that it's got an extra middle car. There are internal differences as well. Our main train art team have a saying in the company that it is never just a reskin. So It's not simply a case of painting it silver. But because we've got that, we are definitely referencing it and looking at it and making sure that the things people do like about that train, can we also set them up on
so to that extent, if we go, it's not just a reskin, then does that mean that the Colnarchen and the Talent 2 and the Rapid Transit Talent 2, it might as well be an SD40 versus a Class 37 in terms of what the differences are?
Can be, yeah. If we've learnt that much between the release of one and the release of the other, it can be a completely different setup. And Rapid Transit is our third route to have come out.
It's properly old, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I've been looking at tickets that were suggesting we should remodel aspects of it. And we have to weigh up, if I set Martin to do that, what else will I get or what else will I lose out on for that DLC?
Oh, so, also, CLA says it meant the audio set, not necessarily the model.
No, we have taken that. That came from a previous roadmap stream as well, and we have been looking at that, what we can do, but we have to be able to do it as well in a reasonable amount of time. If everyone only wanted Martin to do that one thing, that's great, but there are a few other aspects I think that it's also worth putting some time into this month as well.
Okay.
So I have to. It's a lot of things to balance.
All right. Well, I'm not putting you on the I'm not putting you on the spot now, but just be aware for the next roadmap. I'd like to know what your next focus is going to be after these 2 German routes.
Cool. Well, it is going to be British. I'll say that for now. It's
Okay.
going to be British.
Well, that narrows it down quite significantly. Okay, thank you. Yeah, but let's get that onto in planning next time around, because people like to know how long their wait is likely to be before they see fixes to their favourite route, right?
Yes. Yeah, and we're as keen as anyone to get through to everyone's favourite route for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, let's talk about removed from roadmap. So that covers the Long Island Railroad. But we have removed from the roadmap the track IR support that has been on there for a little while. The reason we've taken it off there is not because it's never coming. It's simply because there is no work being done on it at the moment. So we've removed it because we are trying to keep this roadmap as an accurate representation of work that is being done. So it's highly likely to return, but we have to lean on. If it's not on the roadmap, there is no work currently being done on it.
Yeah.
And that's why we've taken it off, because it's going to be probably a couple of months from now before any further work is done. So that's the only reason it's being removed. It's not that it's been abandoned or anything like that, but for the time being, there is no work being done on it.
Pause.
When give it a week or two, right? Here's my pro tip: give it a couple of weeks, and then start banging on and on about how track IR is vitally important, and do that on the forums and via social media and that kind of stuff. And someone somewhere will pay attention to you. That's just my recommendation. If you're desperate for track IR, do let us know, and because it has an impact, it makes a difference. Let's talk routes. So in upcoming now, stone me. In upcoming, we've got 3 routes. We've got the Arosa line, which changes its name more often than you can shake a stick at. It was the Arosa line, then it was Arosa Liney, 2 separate words, and today it turns out that it's actually Arosa Liney, all one word. I don't expect the name to change again, friends, because we can't make our minds up.
Well, they wanted to go with the local line. We have started, I believe, maybe a year or more ago.
I get it, but
to English.
let's try and, if we're going to change something, let's change it once and then stick. Not just kind of go, oh, I've had another idea, and then do it again, says the bloke who has rewritten the way that the roadmap is done 75 different times. Yeah. So it's just... anyway, so the current order of release is expected to be Arosa line, followed by Clinchfield, followed by Hamburg Lübeck. And a couple of people there's a couple of questions about each of those. Arosa line is really close, but you will notice it is not in next release. We only put stuff in next release when we are expecting it to release before the next roadmap. You could probably expect Arosa line to be in next release next time. It's all right. Is Mike online? Nah, he's probably not, and therefore I got away with that. So he doesn't watch these back again afterwards.
They do record these. They do get posted to the internet for all time. Yeah.
Now Clinchfield was ahead of Arosa line, but it is now one step behind. Why is that? And that is that the QA team have gone for. Would you mind making a few adjustments here and there, please, as their initial wave of feedback? So Clinchfield's just got a little while longer to go. It is still very close, but it's having some extra work done. Oh, it's all right. Mike's just told me that it's fine. I kind of go, yeah, I knew that. I wouldn't say it. I like to make out like I'm being all rebellious and stuff, but I know where the line is of what I can and can't do.
I don't know where that line is.
No, I know. That's why I'm here. Because I am the custodian of that particular line. So Clinchfield is expected shortly after Arosa line. The wait between the two is not going to be significant, and then the wait to Hamburg Lübeck is also not expected to be significant. Now, several people have said, flipping it, Hamburg Lübeck, that's not been on the roadmap for very long. What's going on there? This is part of what's the way to describe it? The fact that a lot of the stuff we stuck on the roadmap initially was out of the full year plan, and our year runs just beyond the end of the calendar year. So when we initially did the roadmap, we added a bunch of things that were part of the full year plan. Now, the full year plan actually takes part of the year to lock in. So Hamburg Lubeck was part of the full year plan, but it was decided to hold that back and add it in later. It's complicated and bureaucratic is why it looks like it's rattled through at a heck of a rate, but actually it has had about the same as every other route in terms of the amount of time being developed, being associated to it. So it's see it as part of the teething problems of this first year of running a roadmap, and I figure, hopefully, touch wood, that by the end of the first year of road mapping stuff, that we'll actually be somewhat competent. Neil says, so you were hiding it from the roadmap purposely.
It's complicated.
I don't know if we'd say that it was being hidden from the roadmap. Look, you can interpret it however you like. If you decide that we were purposefully leaving stuff off, then fill your own narrative in there. But no, I mean, there was never any intention to hide anything. This is more about when Mike and the team that he kind of represents and speaks for, when they're comfortable for us to be talking about it publicly, and that's when we've got a lot of licenses to deal with and conversations to be had. And the planning process needs to go through. It's more about when it kind of clears all those tests. So sometimes I'll try and get something put on the roadmap that I know is coming, and I'll have a conversation with Mike and with other people as well, going like, and it kind of makes me a bit uneasy to put it on there now. And it's when there isn't the highest level of certainty. So if you want to see that as us obfuscating information, well, you can if you like. You're going to paint the narrative that best suits your worldview. But frankly, you've never had it so good as far as visibility is concerned. And you only need to rewind a year and think about what were we telling you then? Nothing. That's what we were telling you then, and we're telling you loads now. So it's
there is that other thing. At the point that the track team start laying the next route, that is kind of the point of no return. We are investing the company in making that route and that production going ahead for several months. I've got
inbound cats, just FYI.
So, while they also decide the routes and what they're doing, and there's a lot of planning goes into it, is all that hesitant feeling of, are we definitely making the right choice here with this route?
Yeah.
Because this is the point of no return. We are going to make it. Everyone's going to be involved in it. So there is always that double checking right before they start making the route.
Yeah, apologies for the cat interruption. Those who care not for internet-based cat activity, it's purely because my other half is away at the moment, and usually she keeps him well and truly contained while I'm doing any of this camera action. But because she's away, he just gets louder. If I don't let him roam, he will stand outside the door and start yelling his head off. So my apologies. But he's taken up residence.
The only place on the camera that you'd be able to see him as well.
He's taken up residence in the box, and he'll be pretty happy there until he decides he wants to lie on my new mouse mat. Right, good. So back on topic. Let's talk the other big stuff that occurred in today's update, and I mean, let's do the obvious one. Train Sim World 2 update. Was ist das? What is it? So this is the Train Sim World 2 update is our big update to the game this year. We have previously said it will not be paid. You will not have to pay for this update. So I am saying again, you will not have to pay for this update. That is subject to change. But at the moment, I and everyone else in the company have a 99.9% certainty that it will not be a paid update.
And I am telling the company I don't want to do the preserve collection release process all over again. So
yeah, so
nothing guaranteed, but I do not want to go through that process.
You can take that as we don't want to do preserved collection all over again. Oh my goodness me, what a lot of work that was. That's a good question. Why, asks Dwork, is Train Sim World Update so vague? A couple of reasons. Firstly, we don't know everything that's going into it with 100% confidence yet. Work is ongoing, and the features associated with that might be this many, it might be that many. It could be somewhere in between. So we don't want to do speculative conversation on that kind of stuff. We have touched on the different things that are likely to be involved previously. So it won't be a big thing like multiplayer, for example. Multiplayer will be listed out in the same way as Steam is currently listed out, if and when we ever get to it. Is Steam part of this update? No, Steam is not. Steam is a separate thing. Okay, that's two separate things. The other one, of course, is we want to be able to offer up a surprise once in a while. And there you go. This is one where you can go, transparency only goes so far. You kind of go, yeah, once in a while we want to be able to surprise you with something that we're working on. And therefore it might be that the Train Sim World 2 update, that we keep that feature set quiet, or we don't tell you about it until we're ready to do something big and splashy. So it is all positive. It is all positive, right? There's some good sounding stuff in there, but it's surprises lead to speculation. You're gonna speculate anyway, brutally honest Irish gamer. It doesn't matter what we say. You're going to speculate. So on the one hand, Mick's got it. So instead of disappointing you at hinting at things that might be coming, that we then have to go, and now it's not coming, because we haven't got 100% confidence at this stage. And then secondly, we want to be able to make a surprise once in a while when it's actually fairly close. I mean, if we start talking about it now, and you can already kind of guess about the sort of time of year that it's going to turn up.
I mean, what would Christmas be like if you knew all of your presents before the 25th? Would Christmas be as exciting?
Yeah, all right.
Like
Careful with that one, Adam, because for some people it might be disappointing. Knowing that thing you think is, a new stereo is actually some saucepans. So I don't think that's necessarily a good parallel to be making there. Saucepans. So there you go. That's the reason that we're being vague about it. But we do want to show off. Yeah, we do want to show off. We want to show off where the team are employing their time on the current basis, because chances are the roadmap, as you've already seen, the roadmap will get slimmer, it will get bigger, it will get slimmer, it will get bigger, and it's about where is that time being deployed. Look, whether you like it or not, we're doing that. So complain if you wish. I can't stop you complaining. How is the rest of the... I'm just going through the in-production list. We've got memory use optimization. Now, this is a biggie because that is going to help, particularly on consoles, in enabling extra layers to be done. Have you got any insight into how our memory use work is going?
No, that is an area that we really don't get exposure to. We do memory tests and resource tests and performance tests for the stuff that we do, but that's only to make sure that we don't make it worse. That a lot of that stuff goes on with the engineering team, the build teams, the technical artists, finding new ways. We do sometimes get information if there is a new technique, so we need to change the way something's working to make it work better. And that might be, so if it's content side, if it's scenery or trains related, then we'll get that. But for the most part, it is the main team.
Right. Okay. I'll try and get some more information on that. No, it's fine. I want to get more detail, and I'm going to have to interface with Matt Porter to make that happen.
Make sure you book a meeting about 2 weeks in advance.
Better, yeah, I know. Better use of memory, and also the standard download size reduction. I need to get a feel for how far along they are, how much longer the wait is, because they've been sitting around for a while now. So I need to go kick the tires on that one and see exactly how far it's along. User guides and manuals are still coming along. If you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, you should. I can't even remember what it's called. Train Simulator, I think. Or is it Dovetail Train Simulator? Or is it Train Sim? Or is it It's something. Look for us on Tinternet and see if you find picture of me. If you're watching on Twitch at the moment. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already on the right channel. And then you'll get a notification every time a new guide is released. We are going to reorganise the front of that channel so that it is less, here are 250,000 videos. Find the one you want.
I like going back to the really old ones.
There we go. It's called Train Simulator at the moment, but the address is youtube.com/user/railsimulator.com. Nothing confusing in there. I wonder when we possibly registered our name. It was ages ago. So there you go. It's called Train Simulator, but the address is Rail Simulator. And we're looking to change the vanity URL. Good luck with that. No, knowing how the YouTube operates. Yeah, good luck with that one. So user guides and manuals is progressing. We've spoken about main spec outbound and rapid transit. Rail driver support for preserved collection will be continuing.
Yeah. The guys have been looking at the Long Island Railroad stuff. We have no news on it yet. I did mention previously that it has turned out to be more complicated than we were expecting. So we can't roll it out as quickly as we were originally hoping. But we are still aiming to get as many of the preserved collection as possible.
Yeah.
When they're done, they'll appear in upcoming.
Okay, same with platform departure boards. That's already on the go. Full length of platform climb up functions, that's already on the go, and livery designer compatibility is on the go as well.
Well, it's a slight pause at the moment until I get a new artist for that, but we have already got a number of vehicles that are in the wings waiting.
Yeah. Okay. Can we get that? I'm going to answer this one. Can we get more transparency on why there are still 0 routes in Asia or India? Never answer the hard questions, man. You can't have it both ways. You either want a hard question answering. It's actually an easy answer. And we've answered it on multiple occasions. But here you go. Right. This is why we primarily limit the releases we do to 3 countries. There are 2 fundamental reasons. Number one, it takes a heck of a lot of effort to build for a new country's rule set. And that is the way that the track's laid out, the way that the signals operate, and any other rules of the rail that happen there. There is a large amount of work involved in making that happen, right? So we only want to then release a route in that country if, firstly, we're pretty certain it's going to sell well. Because we don't try to make a habit out of doing a ton of work with no return out the other end. Might sound a little mercenary, but, we are a business. So that's the first reason. The second reason is then we're not going to make one route for a country. We want to make a bunch of routes for a country because that's how we then pay off that initial turn of investment. Also, if you're thinking about India or Asian routes, they're actually down the list in terms of countries we haven't yet addressed. They're probably country-wise in like 6th or 7th place. India would be. China is probably around the same level as India as well. Japan probably comes a little bit higher than that. But numbers 1 and 2 are the Netherlands and Australia. They are the ones that are most heavily requested. So anytime we ask about doing extra countries, and we ask what countries would you like to see or what routes would you like to see, make your voice heard, because we pay attention to that information when we're considering expanding how much of the world we actually cover. So we only have a finite amount of time to build stuff.
And we can only build a certain amount of stuff in the course of a year as well.
Right, and well, that's what I mean. Is like, there are a number of hours that we have to work with in order to make new stuff, and that's the that's the answer. I've given the answer a few times, so there you go.
Yeah.
Where's Canada on that list? Oh, I don't know. I don't have it memorised, and even if I did, it probably wouldn't be accurate. But I do know that it is Netherlands, Australia that are 1 and 2. Netherlands is certainly number 1. Could I post a list of the country ranking? I have done already, actually. If you go look back for the list of the top 50 requested routes, I know that's posted somewhere on the forum, not by me, by somebody else, I think, because I didn't post it because it would set the wrong impression. And that wrong impression is, and now we're going to do it. It's no guarantee that we're going to do it. This is purely your feedback and how we've taken that on board. So someone said, are you going to do a route in Scotland? Yeah, we are. Look at the roadmap. It's on there. Somebody else said, what about Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland and Wales?
Name your country.
Again, well, no, those are a different question because, you know, the system of rail is actually one that we're already relatively familiar with.
In Ireland, it's broad gauge, isn't it?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Different gauge.
Ireland is on a different gauge. So Ireland is slightly different.
The UK and Ireland,
but
and it's like we
but
have
Wales, certainly we can have a
gauges.
route from Wales. There's nothing to stop us. But we've got about all the routes that we want to do from everywhere. So there is, you know, there is always a finite amount that we can do, and we try and pick the stuff that we think people are going to like. And it tends to be on the basis of what is the gameplay itch that we're trying to scratch. That's the basic reason. Is you know, either expanding on gameplay that we've already started working on, or introducing new gameplay that we haven't really touched on yet, but we think that players will really enjoy. We have had a heavy focus in the past 9 months, I guess, on high speed, and our focus will shift away from high speed again. But that doesn't mean that we won't do more high speed stuff. It doesn't mean that we won't do more underground lines or subway lines or you know, rapid transit style stuff. So there you go. So that's how we go about selecting routes. Now, the next most common question that's come up today is dates. We're not going to give you dates on the roadmap stream. We announce the date when we are certain it is locked. We're not even going to give you speculative dates because they move. And they move regularly. They move frequently. And I would rather disappoint you a little bit now by not giving you the date than disappoint you a lot by then moving the date. And the one way that routes don't move is in. Routes only ever move out. So you're going to have to settle for being a little bit disappointed now, rather than risk being a lot disappointed later on. My apologies, but there it is. And also, we'll announce dates when we're locked. That's pretty good.
But then they don't come up on the roadmap stream anyway.
Let's get this one out of the way. Is Train Sim World 2 update core Train Sim World 3? No. Good. Right, that's that dealt with. Right, I think we're done. I think we're done on the update. So let's open the door to the questions that we've got going on. I've covered track I. I've covered the yearly core update. Is it the yearly core update? Yes, it's the yearly core update. So there is a good feature set in there, but it is tricky. Right, here's one that was submitted in advance via the forum. This one's for you. Right, you ready?
Oh, it's the sound.
Why is it so hard to do good sounds? Surely you could just take a microphone and record the train and use that. Now, I believe that was not a completely sincere way of asking the question. I think they were oversimplifying there. But why is train audio so difficult?
Because you can't just take a microphone and record a train. The sound is built very much like it is in the real world. It's a combination of all sorts of sources. and materials that the sources are reverbing from. So we have to record the train in a variety of different ways from a variety of different locations at a variety of different speeds and power settings and goodness knows other, and then put it all back together again.
Well, the other
Yes,
thing is, of course, that it's loops. It's all built out
yeah,
of looped audio in one fashion or another.
yeah. It's a
Because
very safety
you need
conscious
that train
industry.
sound to be able to run for 6 hours without a break.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very safety conscious industry. Safety is number one, and that means that we can't just strap microphones anywhere. We can't exactly record a train moving at high speed in a depot area. So it is very difficult to record trains in the right environments. It is no way at all simply listening to a YouTube video and trying to match it, so synthesizing either, because we don't know what the conditions of that YouTube video is recorded in, so we don't know how accurate that is to being there in person. It's also very subjective. So what you actually hear, say, in the driver's seat of a diesel multiple unit, might not be what people want to hear. They might want to hear something louder, or if it's very vibratory, they might get jarred or annoyed when they're driving along and that same vibration is playing constantly. So there's a lot of adjustment and subjectiveness to the audio as well. Yes, there are some instances where we might have, we should have done better maybe, but because of the subjective nature, we're doing the best we can with what we have access to and what we're able to do, and then taking on feedback and seeing how we can improve going forward. We're always taking on feedback, always looking to do better.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you've got a follow-up question. You know, are we keen to source more sounds from third parties, given how well the 465ers was received? That's we licensed the sounds from that from Armstrong Powerhouse, which is great.
Yeah.
And the short answer is, yeah, we really
Totally.
would.
Yeah.
But
you have to bear in
sometimes,
mind that he
sometimes
might not
they
want
don't
to.
have what we want.
Yeah.
And other times they don't want to give us what we want. They kind of go, no, I'm all right keeping this one to myself. Thank you very much. And that's fine. That is their right. I mean, the overall goal is that we can do it all ourselves. But that doesn't mean that we're unwilling to work with anybody else. And the quality of the sound that we do is really important. We've got sound as a major objective to kind of tick off this year. Or make at least significant progress on, because sound is absolutely crucial to your immersion in the game. And the one thing that's been coming through loud and clear is we haven't been doing a good enough job with sound. So there is that to be done. Now this swings over into passenger announcements, both on the platform and on the train. And someone said, well, surely it isn't that difficult just to record those. Can I go, no, it's not. It's not difficult to record those.
We
Getting
have
the
actually
license
had
for
the
them, on the other
announcer
hand,
in as well. We have had, say, the voice actors that provided those original sounds, but they can't even give us permission to use their announcements in some instances.
Because there is copyright assigned to those announcements, and then there is a second set of copyright that is assigned to their performance of those announcements. It is any recording is a weird, beautiful thing. And therefore it is complicated to get those. That's not the point, though. A worst case scenario, we could get Adam in front of a microphone to record 16 hours worth of all station stop combinations on a particular route, and just play those back at the appropriate time. What we don't have is the tech at the moment to do that playback. It's not because that tech is necessarily difficult to implement. It's more a case of it hasn't hit the top of our to-do list yet. So
yeah, I mean, with Long Island Railroad and the things we're improving on Main Specified and Rapid Transit, where sounds are actually beginning to disappear from the trains, should we just pile on more sounds, or should we make sure that what we've already got is in a good shape before we improve things or expand things? So there's that balance as well.
Yeah, and that's really all there is to it. Is that when it comes to announcements, we have to do other stuff first, and getting the sounds sorted is on our list of things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Right, so that's good sounds. Now, sound patch grade. Well, we've got a couple of users that kind of go, sand patch grade needs some work. There were problems with the EMD dynamic brakes that came up in the last week or two. So what now? What's going on with that? What's
So we
happened? I
have been
think we fixed a
investigating.
couple with today's.
Well, that's it. So we were investigating. We weren't sure why they were impacted. There was certainly no intention to impact. That would be the last thing we want to do. And yeah, it does seem that there were some issues. However, again, with today's update, we are seeing reports that the issue is now gone again. So if you are experiencing issues with the dynamic brakes on EMD locomotives, then please do report it to the forum. Do please provide us with as much information as possible. We don't have a fix yet, anything dedicated, but we are looking at it. We are aware of it. So yeah, as much information as possible, and we'll try and get that resolved, because that's frustrating.
Yeah. So we're keeping an eye on it. If we manage to lock down what the problem is, your feedback actually helps us a massive amount there. If you're experiencing a technical issue of any kind at all, please let us know. And in as much certainty as possible, in as much detail as you can. We want to be able to reproduce the problem for ourselves, and then we can identify exactly what the problem is. There have been a lot of good quality reports coming in lately. Keep it up. It makes a massive difference to tracking it down. How can you be Train Simulator without basic simulation like passenger announcements? That's like doing car simulator, not simulating the wheels. That's not a good parallel at all.
No.
We do simulate the wheels on the train. What we're not simulating, if this were a car simulator, is the radio.
Yeah.
All right. We just don't have the radio yet, but it's something that we want to do. But it is not seen as so mission critical that it is at the top of the list. So there you go. You guys should check Reddit because it's really active. We do check Reddit. We go read it. There are different communities for Train Simulator and Train Sim World on different platforms, and the mood on each of them is very different. The community on Facebook, for example, are really quite, they're quite enthusiastic and positive. At the other end of the spectrum is Reddit. We need to hear from both ends of that spectrum. Because then we can build a full picture of exactly what is what's going on and what people actually want to hear. So we read everything that we can get our hands on. The German community are incredibly active. They need to poke their head into one of the English communities and let us know what's going on once in a while. But we do read the German ones as well. We just don't have as many fluent German people as we do. People fluent in German, I should say, as we do people fluent in English. I exclude myself from that list, obviously. Why doesn't Colnarken have destination displays? We haven't done them yet.
It was Bakerloo line was the first route to get that, and it was developed after. Even though they were released simultaneously, the Bakerloo line was developed after, and it was right at the very end of Bakerloo line that we added that feature.
Yeah, and basically, it's a case of when we get to the route, we will introduce the functionality, but we only have a finite number of hours in the day. We can't do everything at once, so we have to do a little bit and then move round to the next one, and then keep progressing. So Adam's already said that our next target is going to be a British route, but he's not telling us which. But we'll find out next time, because he's probably still considering a couple. Or do you already know?
No, it's still got our eyes on a few, so we need to narrow it down. I did see in the stream that someone has said that a passenger information system mod has been created for the Cologne route. That's awesome. That's
very good.
Awesome.
Works really well. Obviously,
it's just we haven't got to it. There's no reason why we haven't got to it other than we just haven't got to it yet.
That's PC only, and the PC modding crowd is really cool.
Very cool.
Mystic Xenos is saying the TSW subreddit isn't that bad. It's mainly constructive criticism. Mystic Xenos would say that, given that he's the chief moderator. So it's fine. No, look, that constructive criticism is true, and it is most welcome. I'm not throwing Reddit under the bus. As I said, we value all feedback, no matter what the tone is that it takes. But You know, there are some that are slightly more positive. There are some that are slightly more negative. But it takes all of them to build a rounded picture, and that's fine.
Yeah, we try and just read through the emotion to what is it that's the issue.
Yeah.
Is it something we can do something about?
Yeah, absolutely. People asking about is the Class 414 the only train included in Cathcart Circle? Right.
314.
I'm going to answer that.
I wouldn't want to do a 414. That might be a bit old.
Yeah. The 314 is the one that's included. The thing with the routes that we've got coming up is this stream is not the one where we go into any kind of detail in terms of what's actually included in the routes that are coming up. This is purely talking about the process of work that we're doing, and the order in which things are being done, and the thought processes that go on behind the scenes there. When we get closer to release, that way, we'll start to detail out exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the era at least? The era is mentioned in the short code. There's a thread called "Cracking the Code" over on the forums that will tell you what those short codes actually mean, and that will tell you what era it's set in. There you go. I'm not going to do the work for you because once you know it, you know it. See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone has asked, the sky improvements will affect all routes, not just Long Island Railroad. No, it is on a case-by-case basis, so each route needs to have the improved skies added to it. If we haven't done it, did we do it on Long Island? We did do it on Long Island, so yeah, the Long Island has had the improved skies, but we need to upgrade each one as we go through. And someone else asked about, will the sounds be improved on the 146 for main special barn? Yes, that is currently ongoing. It won't mean that every instance of a 146 gets fixed. There's also a 185 in that route. That will get attention, but it does mean that not every 185 will get fixed, only the ones in main special barn. That's where we're starting at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah. Any news on passenger behaviour? Yeah, that is high up on our list, but no news.
Other than anything
and density
on,
as well. Passenger density, passenger behaviour is high up on the list.
Yeah, other than things on, say, Long Island, where we've been resolving issues of passengers getting onto the track or getting stuck coming from the train to the exit points, or spawning in and not being able to get the train. So we fixed little glitches like that as well. And we'll go through the routes. That will be part of our little station upgrades as we review each route that we work on.
Yeah. Could we make, though this is but a hypothetical question, but it's here, could we make BNSF routes even if we didn't include BNSF logos? Yeah, we probably could, but maybe not in exactly that way. But here's the thing, we don't do that. We try not. In fact, if the choice is we either make a generic version or we don't make it at all, we won't make it at all. We want, wherever possible, to do properly licensed routes and the locos that run on them. So, so that's why BNSF is not something that's likely to turn up initially.
Yeah. Do we have a release slot yet for the departure boards on East Coastway? I don't. But that work has been
done for a while, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I've seen today that there are some fixes that we did to the Northern Transpennine that still haven't gone out yet. So they are marked for a slot coming up soon. So, where this stuff comes out is completely out of my control, other than once we're happy that it's all done and dusted, it goes to the build team, and it's then their job to find the best place to release it.
If you fix the sound for a loco, does it then work across every route you apply that loco to?
The sound is with that loco, yes.
Right.
So if you used off the rails to play it somewhere else, then yeah, it would still.
Any updates on Steam? No updates on Steam, but there is another Steam article coming this week. Probably this week, might be the start of next week. It's almost written. I say almost. I'll have it written by lunchtime tomorrow. There you go. I've guaranteed that to Mike already, so that's fine. It's I will have it written by tomorrow lunchtime, and then we'll schedule it to go out when there's nothing else in the way. But there is a little something called March Madness coming up this week. There you go. Why do we have to wait for a slot? We cover this one quite regularly, but it's worth mentioning again. And that is, there is a minimum download size for any change we make to any route. And go on, Adam, go on.
I was just going to say, we release things as fast as we can, but they all have to go through processes and systems. So yeah, we don't want to release a tiny fix, and meaning that every day you're downloading something, but also we can't just bombard Microsoft, Sony, Valve with updates constantly, and we can't process updates that quickly. We need to package them up, wrap them up, get them ready, test them, make sure they're going. That all takes time. So yeah, we spread them out to be able to manage them.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, see, Rob's throwing in some sarcasm there, going like, "Oh, can we have a roadmap for when slots are available for articles?" And you kind of go, "This is the kind of stuff that we wouldn't normally want to tell you. This is the rubbish that goes on behind the scenes. That is, really really important. That we kind of line things up so that we're not putting out multiple." Conversation starters on the same day. Otherwise, everyone kind of goes, "Oh, it's flipping too much information." Or, "I read that one, but the second one, I didn't read it because I didn't assume that they were doing." Why would you do 15 different updates on one day and then nothing for 3 weeks? Yeah.
I'm seeing people saying, is the 182 getting updated alongside Rapid Transit? The 182 is in our sites. I'm not promising anything we'll do to it, but the 182, obviously being the DLC to Rapid Transit, means that we are looking. And LZB, again, will we get it on the 182? Will we get it on the 146? We are investigating LZB and what it would take to add. I need to check that it's not just the train that needs it, that is there anything on the track that's needed, anything in the signalling system that's needed. So we're investigating LZB, but I'm not promising that we're going to add that to anything.
AOK75 says, "Did my request to put something on the roadmap get approved?" I talked about it last night. Yes, it did. It is the Train Sim World 2 update. That was my request yesterday. I was just waiting on that to be cleared. NSA says, "What priority would audio occlusion be on our priority list?" Pretty high up, because sound is something that we're looking to address.
However, what route we're working on is higher priority. So it's not a case of we go and do all the audio occlusion issues across the software in everything. We will work on the audio occlusion for, at the moment, Rapid Transit and main specifier.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. There we go. Right. Okay. Let's see if there's any other kind of fresh stuff. Did ATS get any improvements on Long Island railroads?
No, not this time.
Not this time round, but next time around, you never know.
Yeah. With the Western 52 pack, the Legends of Great Western coming out with livery designer compatibility, what will happen to the preserved collection content that is the same stock? Whether a new DLC comes out that has stock that has livery designer compatibility will not affect, as far as I'm concerned, and no one has told me otherwise so far, will not affect the preserved collection getting that feature as well. So if
I'm going to put this in fewer words, all right? Because I know what you're saying, but people need to be aware of it. Because we're bringing out new versions of locos that already exist in the game, and they will, in the Diesel Legends pack, they will have livery designer compatibility. The existing ones will not. That is the latest information I have. So it's only the new ones that have livery designer compatibility for the moment, until Adam and the team get round to it, and then they'll update the old ones as well.
Yes. It won't stop the older stuff getting it.
No.
So we won't be expecting you to buy new stuff.
But it won't mean they both have it from the launch of
They are completely separate installations,
So, yeah, that's what it is. Someone else asked, do I get the Diesel Legends pack for free, given that I already have all of the other DLCs that interact with it? I've already got the trains. Do I get the rest of the pack for free? No, you don't. So you need to think carefully about, is it something that you need or not? We did a preview. Matt and I did a preview of it last week. Was it last week or was it Monday? That was yesterday. No, it was me doing Scenario Planner yesterday. It was last week. Go look it up. We show off exactly what it is. And if the secondary timetable is not something that appeals to you, then don't bother getting it. If it does appeal to you, go for your life. If you don't have the trains already, then there's a bit of extra value going on in there. But that's what you are paying for. There is fundamentally the gameplay, which is the extra timetable and services.
Actually, someone made a good point. Apologies, I missed your name, but there is an issue with freight exchange scenario on Rus Ignored. That has been brought to my attention by the support team, the Kayak support team. They've requested that we work on that this month, and we get a fix for that. So while we're not working on Rus Ignored at the moment, we have been asked to fix some reported issues with the freight exchange scenario. So yes, that is currently on my to-do list.
Good. Yeah, good. Right, I think we're about there. Oh, hold on. The routes like West Somerset, Rus Ignored and Rapid Transit don't have AI cars on the roads. Will you be adding those when you get to them?
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm not allowed to be so definitive. That is on the list of upgrades that we target. And yeah, if we get to it, we get to it. We don't guarantee it, but that is on the list. I have a list of about a dozen features that is present in TrainSim World 2 routes that might not be present in older routes. So yeah, it is on the list if we can get to it.
Yeah. Someone asked, when is the Diesel Legends pack out? It's out this Thursday. I like to be able to give a date once in a while, even though it's a date we've announced before. I like to be able to give a date. When will the Steam come out? No idea at all. It has got months and months of development still to go, right? And that's, if I could be more vague, I would. It's got a long time still to go before we're ready with Steam. So we're going to keep you up to speed on how we're working through it and what are the considerations. We're at the what are the considerations stage in terms of the articles we're putting together. But along that path, we will talk more about what is going on. But no, it's you've got a while to wait yet. We've got a while to wait. So ease down.
I saw another great question actually about...
Have you fixed the extra services backdoor cheat on the Great Western Express for consoles so we can no longer use them?
So we have done fixes for that actually.
No, this is the one whereby you could access the stuff that we no longer have the license for.
Yeah, if you go out through journey mode and come back in. No, they're talking about if you go out into journey mode and back out again on console, you can then load up the PC version. So yeah,
is that still in there?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So yeah, we thought we fixed it, but clearly
we would only remove something if it was going to have a detrimental effect by leaving it in. So yeah, I mean, holes like that are not ideal.
But in terms of the blue HST set, we are not going to be touching that.
Actually, a couple of people have said, are we going to get any news or sneak peeks of Hamburg to Lübeck? Yeah, I would have thought so, Mike. If you're still got your ears on, we've got some Hamburg behind the scenes preview type behaviour coming up soon. Mike's not typing. Mike's obviously got other things in his hands at the moment, and I dread to think what those might be. Cup, saucer. There you go. That's probably what it is. Oh no, here we go. Mike is typing.
While he's typing, then I did see a great one about: do we need to complete all of the Preserve Collection improvements process before the next core release of TrainSim World? No, we don't need to. As far as I've been told, we don't need to stop the process or complete it. So we'll carry on regardless.
Okay, yeah. Mike has said there will be some Hamburg development features coming up. But they'll be as it gets a little bit closer. It is third in the queue at the moment, so we'll get some stuff along there too. Yeah. Right. No other. The Class 313. A couple of people have asked if there's any news on that. There is no news on that. These streams are here to kind of hang a little bit of meat on the bones of what's going on with the roadmap. But we're not really going to talk about what's happening with upcoming routes or locos or anything along those lines. We save those for when we kind of talk about them in a more formalised setting, because not everybody has the time to sit through an hour and a bit of Adam and I just chatting back and forth to try and pick out that one nugget of information about an upcoming route. So we do try not to announce big stuff while just chatting. We might reference slightly bigger stuff when we're just chatting, but beyond that, it's all fine. The C48, sorry, Studoy, I saw your post on the forum. Is the C48W banking com and the AC4400 break fix? Was the AC4400, that wasn't fixed in today's, was it? That wasn't
No,
one of those
not intentionally. If he did fix things, that's great. But there was no
that wasn't an intentional fix.
No.
It will more. We covered sandpatch grade earlier on, and given that those are fundamentally associated with sandpatch grade, it is more appropriate there. But sandpatch grade isn't being looked at for a while.
And nothing. There's no
train
news
announcements
on the C40 either. No.
Train announcements. Chris, back up the stream by about 20 minutes and pay attention from there. Anything else? Can we have some meat on the cement circle problem? No, I'm waiting for a reply.
That also, I did see other mentions of sound improvements. Will they go to the 2020 version? No, they will not. This will only be for the preserved collection on Traceable 2.
Yeah. Right, there you go. Yeah, that's it. That's going to wrap it up for this week. So when are we going to be adding new routes to the list? Soon is the answer. I mean, when stuff starts leaving the list, more stuff will be coming up. We are getting through the full year now in terms of locking down the stuff that is likely to be made. And that's going to lead to an interesting conversation that I need to have with someone a bit later on. But there you go. Yeah, sorry, that was a mental note that I should have kept in my head. So thanks very much for tuning in. If you've got questions, if you've got feedback, we want to hear it. You can submit it anywhere where there is a Train Sim World community, and we will find it. The official forums are a good place to go because we're in there constantly. But there you go. That's about the size of it. Anything else you want to finish off with?
Only that I have seen a few comments about my presence dropped off quite considerably on the forums. That is because I had a little bit of a briefing, and Natalie deserves more things to talk about. I was stepping on her toes, so I did apologise to Natalie. She does an absolutely fantastic job. I certainly didn't want to take the limelight away from her. So
it's not about limelight. For community managers, the best way to learn anything is to have to understand it. So when a question comes up, historically, Adam would answer the question. Just go straight in, answer the question, which is great, which is what we want. But it actually helps the community team get a bigger and broader understanding of the way the game is put together, and particularly how problems hang together, by then talking about it with the developer and then having to spell it out and write the response themselves. Yeah. So it is, yes, it is very much a less efficient way of getting you the information, but in the long term what it means is that your community team are better able to represent you because they have a better understanding of the game and the problems overall.
Yeah. Right.
Good. Right. Connor, good one. Yeah, I meant to mention that. We are planning to, and we could be doing it already, but Natalie's got some real world nonsense going on at the moment, which is interfering with her ability to do normal hours. But she's fine. Everything's fine. She'll be back, but she's just got some real world stuff that is interfering at the moment. And she's the one who does the work on checking through all the tech report stuff that comes in. And she has assured me that she will be flagging each thread, not every post, just the first thread in each topic as helpful as soon as she has reported back the substance of that thread. She's probably done
I
loads
also
already.
feed her threads as well. Even if she's already seen them, I will be going through and saying, "Oh, I like this thread. Can you note this thread? You know that thread." So yeah.
Yeah. So if you see Adam give something a thumbs up, then you know he's been in there. There you go. All right.
Cool. I could do that. Yeah.
Just do it. If you've read the thread, give it a thumbs up, and that way, whether you like it or not, and that way people know you've read it.
Oh, no thumbs down then, I guess.
We don't have a thumbs down button because people were using it, were weaponizing it.
Oh.
Yeah. No, this is. If you ever want to know the answer to this is why you can't have nice things. Yeah. Right. Okay. Thanks very much for tuning in today. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the next roadmap update. Chuck us your feedback. We want it. Say goodbye, Adam.
Goodbye, Adam.
Right. Excellent work. You're picking up on that really, really strongly.